Welcome to Season 8, Episode 34 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast that is often imitated, never duplicated. It's Let's Go Blues Radio. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. This is franchise episode number 220 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Curt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure, we'll be with you for the next little while talking Stanley Cup champions St. Louis Blues hockey. To interact with us on social media, follow us on Twitter. The handles are at LGB Radio. Mine is at Curt Price, Bill's is at Billy Bluenote, and Jeff's is at jponder94. Follow us on Instagram, like us on the Facebook, and the website is letsgoblues.com, where you can listen to past episodes, browse the discussion forum, as well as get some cool t-shirts, mugs, and stickers. That helps support the show. Got a few announcements here. Guys, how are you this evening? We got a late start tonight. This new software is just buggy weird.
Yeah, it's thrown off our entire game tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We'll see if it gets any better.
Yeah, it's, whatever. But hey, you know what? We're live, and we've got at least a few people watching, right? So at least we're on the air.
Congratulations to the St. Louis Cardinals, first of all. Did you guys watch the Cardinal game at all today?
Woo! What a game that was.
Yeah, I watched the score, and it was like watching, stock market going up and up and up, just like, from all the winning and all that. But it was just amazing. Like I went to give somebody an update. Oh, it's already 2-0. Oh wait, it's 4-0. Oh wait, it's 7-0.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's interesting because the being, as far as the Braves are concerned, being down 10-0 before you even get a chance to swing the bat, that is ridiculous.
Tied a major league record for runs in a postseason inning.
First time ever in the first too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. It's funny because my wife had she's a teacher, and she had parent-teacher conferences today, and she's watched every game with me, and we've sat there and complained about the run support, especially for Flaherty. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she comes home, and it's 12-0. And she's like, what happened? And I'm like, hey, you need to stop watching the games, apparently, because I've never seen them explode like this in the playoffs.
Especially with
that's
their
not
bats.
true. I guess in 2011, they did that one time in the World Series game.
Well, their bats are so hit or miss right now, so it was fun to see. The Stanley Ponder Cup tournament is coming up, right? Pretty soon.
Yeah, we still got a couple spots left. And again, I know I say this every year that, we're procrastinating hockey players. The fact that we still have spots open, but the fact is that that's just who these people are. That's who we are, right? We wait till the last minute to sign up for stuff. But if you're a player, we are looking for anyone to play. I know that our friend Jason Martin from the Blues Hockey Podcast says he wants to play. So you could potentially be playing with a couple of your favorite Blues podcasters. Curt, Bill, any interest?
I am on the fence. I have not played since last tournament, and I'm on the fence. I might.
You should. You should.
Yeah, I would have to replace a bunch of equipment, so I am not so much on the fence.
It's a financial investment for you.
It would be more than an entry fee for me. So I'm doubting it, but I will definitely come out and watch some of it. But I'm doubtful.
Well, there you go. You can at least meet Bill Day.
And who wouldn't want
That
to
sounds
do that?
that sounds like a movie that would be starring Brad Pitt. Meet Bill Day.
You think I'd meet Joe Black?
I believe that's what I'm thinking of. Yes,
It's an old one. That's like what,
it is. That's a good
19
one.
It's
It's a
19
long
19
one.
years old or so?
Yeah.
2000 or so?
Yeah.
The Bluenote Champions 5K was last Sunday, and all three of us participated.
And finished.
And had a good time. Yeah, it was, and got one of these fancy schmancy Stanley Cup medals. I'll hold it up to the camera. That was get the angle there. There it is. So be jealous. Be jealous.
I meant to wear mine, and then I completely forgot.
I was going to wear mine, but I did not.
I guess I could go put mine on. But, no, Bill, everyone's probably wondering. I know that this was the talk of Blues Nation. who of Let's Go Blues Radio won, and it was Mr. Curt Price. Congratulations, sir.
This year, yeah, all three of us had something go wrong, I think, during this race.
We did. Yes.
We all had some kind of an injury, and we all stumbled across the finish line.
Yeah.
You can tell we're getting old.
Yeah. Well, my training got derailed. Like, I had to stop running in August because of a foot injury, and then had a cold all of September. So it's like, I got 3 runs in before going to this thing. So
yeah, I was walking and running before. I was fine, but I've got a stupid T-band ligament issue in my leg that for some reason when I run more than a couple miles outside on the road, outside makes a difference. Road running is different, I guess, and it was flaring up, and it hurt. Yeah. Going downstairs after the race was pretty painful.
Yikes.
I'd mentioned to you guys last week that because I got plantar fasciitis, which for those that aren't aware, it's very sharp pain on the inside arch of your foot. And so I went to the doctor on, I think it was last Wednesday or last Thursday, just saying, hey, I'm just going to get a cortisone shot. Like, just shoot me up. I want to be able to run without any pain. And found out that the pain I'm having was not plantar fasciitis, but tendonitis on the outsides of my feet. So not only do I have plantar fasciitis on the insides, but I got tendonitis on the outside. So basically, it's just a perfect storm of complete shit for me and my feet. So it's been interesting. It's been a fun 3 months since this started flaring up. So basically, the only thing I can do is stop skating, stop running, and God, I'm just such an idiot because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah, right. That's what I said to the doctor. Why would I stop skating? Are you kidding me?
You have all the itises. You need.
I do.
You wouldn't happen to have gingivitis, would you?
I hope not. Hepatitis?
Hepatitis? A or B? No.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
You got your bases covered. You've been around. You've been around the block.
Oh, I have.
Well, and speaking of which, did you see the headline today that St. Louis is #1 in chlamydia
And gonorrhea.
and gonorrhea?
Yeah.
Oh, good for us.
Hey, woo!
Glad to see we're keeping our rankings.
Lead the nation in murder
and sexually transmitted diseases.
Pretty much.
I
Hey,
wonder if there's a correlation.
That just means we're easy, right?
I don't know. I'm not from St. Louis, so I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Oh,
I'm not part of the statistics.
yeah. You guys are a lot harder to get into bed over there in Illinois.
Well, I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
This is sometimes these names in the YouTube chats hard to. Lachlan ruined it. Oh, they participated before, haven't they?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Schenn getting an 8-year deal? We'll talk about that in a little bit. We got that in the show notes. So stay tuned. The Making Coco, the Grant Fuhr story. We all went to see it on Friday. That was, I don't want to speak for you guys, but it was great.
Yeah. It was great once we got the asshole kids kicked out.
Yeah, well,
Get off our lawn.
Be nice. They were little girls, and they were making noise in the back. There was disturbing people.
In the back. They were giving people chlamydia and gonorrhea.
They were like 12.
So they're the ones that are causing it.
They were 12 or 14 or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It just there were what 7 adults in this theater, and then probably as many children in the back row just making a lot of.
Well, then it wasn't even that they were making noise. It was the fact that they kept like walking in front of the projector and giggling while they were doing it. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, we went to the later show, so there weren't as many folks in the theater. But yeah, that was pretty annoying. And to the theater's defense, it was Ronnys. They came in. I don't know if something was said to one of the managers, or they came and noticed during the theater check. But they escorted them out, and they came in, and they gave us all passes to come back and see a show on them, which was fantastic. They didn't ruin the show, but they were annoying.
They were distracting.
They were very distracting, and so that was good on Ronnys for they gave us those passes without I don't think anyone asked for them. So that was great customer service.
Right.
I have had experiences at theaters where literally there is a person sitting in front of me. Iron Man 3 comes to mind. And he was literally talking as loud as he could. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say this. He's louder than I'm talking right now. And he was just having a conversation with the person next to him. And I went and told somebody. Nothing was done. He just sat there the whole movie and talked and talked. And I said, dude, please be quiet. And he'd turn around and go, okay. And then 30 seconds later, he'd start up again. It's just, oh, my God. And we got nothing for that. So the fact that, yeah, they came out and took care of us for that, that was very cool. So, yes, thank you, Ronnys.
I used to work at a theater. I used to work at Warenberg in O'Fallon, Illinois, before they switched over to Marcus. This is a long time ago. And, yeah, those free passes, we'd hand them out like they were pennies. They were nothing. But those things, somebody could have the worst experience of a lifetime in a theater. An usher could spill stuff all over them, and they could trip and fall down the stairs, and then tear their coat on the railing or something on the way out. And if we give them a pass to come back, they were just completely happy. Those things are like gold.
That's dispute resolution at its finest.
I mean, here you go, something shiny.
You came here and had a bad experience. Here's the gift of coming back for free.
Well,
I think it makes it all better. It's beautiful.
Well, movies aren't cheap nowadays, so it's it's a nice coupon.
Yeah.
Buy one get one for a $13, $14 show or whatever it is nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and what Ronnys gave us, that wasn't buy one get one. That was come back to us.
Right, exactly.
On the house.
And Woodsy 22 in the YouTube chat says, I was at that show. They really were annoying.
Yeah, wow.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, there was one other couple in there. So
there were a few people behind us.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We were the four, there was 1, 2, 3,
We were row F.
4, 5 of us.
We were row F.
6 of us.
6 of us.
Yeah. Yeah, row F.
Yeah. And I mean, so we've spent enough time bitching about the experience. However, the show itself, like you started off there, it was very well done. Great, like
cinematography,
great use of historical footage.
Yeah.
Tells a great story. Like you don't really, being outside the Edmonton market, we didn't get immersed with, Grant Fuhr's backstory when he came here and played as well as he did.
Right, which was kind of I blame the poor St. Louis hockey coverage at the time for not filling fans in on exactly, on his whole backstory, because that's a no-brainer. It was so easy to do.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff, and you didn't hear about that.
Yeah. But
and
great story.
I want to point out that I still hate Nick Kiprios.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Adam Scorgi on here last week.
And he said we may like him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was soft selling us, I think, because, selling us on the, he gets emotional. Well, he's still a dick.
True.
He was, and he did. He got emotional, and you could tell that he did not mean. His intent was not to take out his knee, to injure him and take him out of the playoffs. That was not his intent. And we discussed this last week when we had Mr. Scorgi on. We being hockey players, we've all done this. You take advantage of a situation. Well, most of us have. I don't know. I have. Where you can barrel into a goalie or you can barrel into a player. It's a situational thing.
As a goalie,
I
have been taken advantage of.
There you go. And you have.
Oh my!
And you have.
That's just since you've known me.
I wasn't going to say anything, Jeff, but yes.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be released on DVD here, I think, in November, and streaming services in November, and DVD to follow that, I guess. So.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, if you're a hockey fan at all, or just a fan of good stories, it's you don't have to be a Blues fan either, because although there is a good chunk of it is about the Blues, which was nice to see.
Right. They got a ton of Blues alumni from the time.
Chase, Hull,
Pronger,
McInnes.
Yeah. All of them in there. The
Armstrong was in it.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
I was
He
surprised to
wasn't
see
GM at the
Vladimir Chebaturkin in there.
The chubby turkey. It is almost Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend.
That kind of killed the conversation right there.
Hey,
What do they have to be
No,
thankful for?
Not your fault.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to respond to that.
Right. All right.
Good on them.
So I think that means it's time to move on.
Canadian Thanksgiving
Thanks.
is in October, huh?
Yeah.
Before Halloween.
Yeah.
That seems wrong.
They still have English women on their money, so I don't count that as anything.
We got some new stickers in today, and I tweeted this out, and it got a lot of. Did you guys see that? I tweeted out the stickers,
Yes.
and it got a lot of response real quick. People want them, so I'll hold them with the camera for those looking on YouTube. There's the Stag Beer parody themed Blues stickers, Blues hockey stickers. Golden quality since 1967. For those Stag Beer fans, it's.
And I thought these were just fancy coasters.
I saw your beer set. I'm like, what are you doing? Those stickers.
It's a coaster.
They're very thin. They're
it's where I put my
It's
beer.
a very thin coaster.
I will admit, like looking at them on here because it's 2D. It does look like a coaster. So I'm with you, Bill. It's just
Well,
I'm not seeing them in person
You know what this is?
like you are.
You know what this is?
That looks like a coaster to me.
That's a coaster. And it's so. I mean, yeah. Like I can't do camera stuff. All right. Anyway. Anyway, I'm gonna. As I was gonna say with the stickers, we'll have a link available for people to acquire these. So I'll work on that, so stay tuned for that, please.
And by the way, I know that a lot of people have been asking for a better view of Bill, and now you're getting it with the new setup that Curt set up here because you can see Bill in the flesh. Bill, take your shirt off.
Not falling for that again, Ponder.
That's how it happened the first time.
Yeah.
Why is it always the risque, sexually inappropriate stuff comes out of Ponder's mouth every time on this show? It's like every time.
I get it out before the show starts.
Right, I know. Yeah, all
I-
fair. It's where it's more appropriate.
Right.
Right.
I think it
And-
says
and
something
appreciate
about
it.
me. Yes.
The official beers of episode number 220. The big 220. Bill,
210, 220,
whatever it takes.
whatever it takes. My beer of the episode, as I tweeted out, is a collaboration between Sierra Nevada and Dogfish Head Brewery called Life and Limb. It is an ale brewed with maple syrup and birch syrup. It's
Sounds very good.
a very autumnal beer.
Sounds breakfasty.
Yeah, it is. It's
You can have it with bacon. No? Yeah?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. If I had like maple bacon potato chips right now, it'd be a perfect combination. And it's very good. Perfect for this time of year, as temperatures are falling, and we're
you're painting a picture.
yeah, it's beautiful. Highly recommend it. Pick some up. I picked this up. I've seen it Friar Tuck. I got this at Total Wine. Very good stuff.
Cool. Mr. Ponder.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
Oh,
what's
you
your-
want my beer?
I mean, if you want to, I
Okay.
can just move right along if you're not prepared and ready. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, I'm very prepared. I just was in the middle of sending a tweet out telling everyone that we're live. So if you follow me on Twitter, you're going to see that tweet here in a minute. But instead, I'll go ahead and do my my beer of the episode first. This is from one of my favorite breweries here in the St. Louis area, the O'Fallon Brewery. I always say that that they have the best pumpkin beer. I'm not a huge, my wife thinks I'm a crazy pumpkin beer fan. It's really not true. I like Oktoberfest better. I think, Bill, we've had this conversation. I think you do too, correct?
Yes.
What's your favorite Oktoberfest beer? Favorite bottler?
Ooh,
Do you have one?
that's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I do like Schlafly's, and I actually
Schlafly's
do
a
really
good one.
enjoy Sam Adams.
I was going to say St.
I
Adams
was-
is up there. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say with Sam Adams. So, yep, that's a good one. But anyway, when it comes to pumpkin beer, and why she always says that I'm a crazy pumpkin beer fan is because I always get the O'Fallon one. And I think O'Fallon has the best pumpkin beer. And again, maybe I'm crazy, but it's just something about it. It's fantastic. They released something here. I think it was last year. They released it for the first time. The pecan pie pumpkin beer. I I don't think it's as good
That sounds
as
good though.
just the pumpkin beer, but it's really good still. It's still up there in terms of the different types of pumpkin beer there are. So there's a sampler pack you can get at most places that's got all the different flavors. There's a s'mores one too, I believe. So it's just great stuff for sitting around a campfire. This is bonfire season, folks. Come on over to the Ponder House. We're gonna have a couple of those this year with my new fire pit. Yeah, so this is great stuff. O'Fallon pumpkin beer, definitely the way to go if you're a pumpkin beer fan.
Mine is nothing spectacular like you two gentlemen have. I was on the treadmill right before the show, and I did not feel like drinking anything of substance. So it's the lightest of light, the Bud Light Orange Beer, the Mr. Blues Hat Special.
Shout out every time.
I know. Well, he's earned it.
And speaking of Mr. Blues Hat, did you see that Pat Maroon scored his first goal in the Tampa Bay Lightning's first game?
Yeah, I saw that.
So did Kevin Shattenkirk.
He'll. I'm sure Maroon. That means Maroon's going to put up like 35, right, this year. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, but we'll get to it. But Sammy Blais is going to put up 40 then.
Lead the team in scoring.
Dude's awesome. Love him.
Yeah. Let's see how long he keeps that up. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, October 9th, 2019. In 2010, today's date, the St. Louis Blues unveiled the Brett Hull statue on Brett Hull Way outside the Scott Trade Center. So that's a rather big day. 1999, today's date, 1999, Pierre Turgeon of the St. Louis Blues recorded his 1,000th career point versus the Edmonton Oilers. 1997, October 9th, 1997, Brett Hull scored his last overtime goal and his 27th and final hat trick for the St. Louis Blues versus the LA Kings at Kiel Center in St. Louis. 27 hat tricks. Man, that's a lot.
That's a ton of goals.
That's a lot of goals.
Almost as impressive as James Neal scoring at all, and the guy has 6 goals.
Well, 4 in one game. I mean, I'll do it for you.
Unreal.
Today's date, 1976. Brian Sutter of the Kansas City Blues had his first pro fight and was ejected for pulling Tom Sandberg's hair. This was versus the Salt Lake Golden Eagles. I guess you get ejected for pulling hair, huh?
Well, back in the 70s, there was a lot of it to pull.
There was a lot of long hair.
Man, can you imagine seeing that now, like a guy just pulling another guy's hair in the NHL? Who's got long hair right now?
Maybe that's
Joe Thornton, who pulled his beard a couple years ago.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that was Bacchus.
I wonder if that's
He
why
deserved
Jamie.
it.
Is that why Jamie Rivers cut his hair when he played? Because he had long hair for a while.
He did have that long mane.
Well, and
I remember.
And that was a big deal when he cut it because he's part, American Indian. I don't know what denomination. I mean,
He's a 50.
He's a 50. But that was. I remember that being a big deal when he cut it. So
Now you got to make me look it up. Jamie, I know you're listening. Call on in, big boy.
well, I asked him about that on Twitter before he,
Blocked you?
blocked me, and he said, "Yep, that happened." So
Huron First Nations.
Right. So not American Indian.
No.
Canadian.
Yeah,
First
Canadian.
Nations.
Huron.
Canadian Native Native Canadian? Is that what they're called?
Is it
Just First Nation.
First
Huron?
Nation. Yeah.
Huron? Is that it?
Yes. Like the lake.
There's a hockey school, Huron Hockey School, that I think my brother went to at one point.
I tell you what, man, Jamie Rivers did have some beautiful hair back in the day.
Beautiful is a weird word.
Oh,
but
no, it's beautiful. It's flowing.
he had some substantial hair.
He had some substantial hair. Maybe it's, looking a little bit like Mr. Ponders here, looking good.
I finally get it now. You got Jamie Rivers hair. That's what it is.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
I hope your hair looks better at his age than his does now.
Oh. He's still got some hair. He's still got some.
He cuts it pretty short now. Does he seem pale on air to you? Anybody else? He seems like he's like just puked, like off air and then went on the air. He seems like he's very pale.
Maybe that's how he prepares.
He's like Glenn
Glenn Hall pukes before every
Yeah.
game.
That's
That's okay. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, quite honestly, I have not caught a Blues intermission show yet this year.
I tend to fast forward through them.
Yeah, I haven't caught any of it live.
I don't. Yeah.
Well, the first game,
Oh.
but that's NBCSN.
Yeah, I tend to join them halfway through or something. And I'll fast forward through the breaks and whatnot. So I don't need somebody to tell me what I just saw.
Remember back in the day when they used to have like the kind of cool features, I remember once they had a feature about who was it? Greg Pazlowski and Brian Sutter or somebody, and they used to have like really kind of interesting features about like the players and what they do off the ice, and yeah, there's just none of that anymore.
No, it's all talking now.
Yep.
So the Blues got a private tour of the Hockey Hall of Fame archives yesterday. The same day, or earlier in the day, later that night, they donated their Stanley Cup ring, a ring, and the St. Louis Police badge that's Blues themed, both to the Hockey Hall of Fame. So those are on display now, I imagine. So that's pretty cool. And it was neat to see pictures of the Blues players given the tour behind the scenes at the Hockey Hall of Fame, because having them look at players' sticks that were in the Hockey Hall, like just the racks of sticks, and seeing sticks that Larry Robinson may have used or whatever. Just kind of neat to see the fantastic players nowadays, just like in awe of the stuff from the players back in the day.
Man, I will say that when I worked at Panini in Dallas for about that year I was down there, they had it was very closed off from us normal workers. It was typically just the people who worked with the memorabilia that they would shred up and put into the cards. One day they allowed me to go back there and take a look, and I probably spent half the day back there just looking at the hockey memorabilia. Like there was a used Bobby Orr stick. There was used gloves from Wayne Gretzky, and just all this really cool stuff. And it was really upsetting to me, and I'm sure you guys are going to feel the same way, because you think about it, that's not going to be around long. They're shredding it up to put it inside those special edition cards. And so it was bittersweet, because I go back there and I literally hold a Bobby Orr stick and just say, oh my God, this is so cool. But hey, that's going to be taken off the rack in a couple days and shredded into 20 pieces to be used in cards. So it was, but yeah, I mean, I imagine for these players, that's kind of how it felt. Like, this is really cool to be able to see all this old memorabilia from these guys that I idolized growing up.
Brayden,
How many did you steal?
I'm not telling. I mean, I mentioned the Bobby Orr stick just because that's the one that really stood out to me.
Don't you have a Bobby Orr stick?
No, I've got a Bobby Orr jersey.
Oh, I thought you said you showed me a Bobby Orr stick one time. You said,
No, nice try, buddy. I tell you what though, I mean, I went to the guy in charge of memorabilia and I said, how much do you want for this? And he said, it's not for sale. I'm like, dude, just give me a price. Like, I want to take this with me. And they couldn't, because they already had a deal. It was a deal in place that with the Bobby Orr Foundation or whatever, that they were going to get these cards out. And I'm like, they probably could have said $500, and I would have done it. That would have been so cool to have in my hands.
Brayden Schenn signed an 8-year deal last week. Wow.
Out of the blue, man.
Oh, yeah. What are things I didn't expect to hear that day for 1,000, Alex? Contract begins next season. $6.5 million cap hit, $52 million total in the contract. His current cap hit is $5.125 million, so he gets like $1.375 raise per. So signed through 2027-28. The years map out like this: base salary $8 million, $8 million, $5.2 million, $8 million, $8 million, $6.5 million, $4.3, and $4. So it's front loaded a bit, except for year 3, which is at 5.2. He's 20 years old now. Will be 37 when the contract is up. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Go ahead, Bill.
Love the AAV, hate the last 2 years of the term. That
You mean the length?
the length,
Yeah, because the last two base salaries is
right, salary
pretty
is
good.
fine,
Yeah.
and hopefully you can bury it because he's not going to be an effective player the way that he plays, unless he is
Becomes a
yeah
third line checker,
a different type of player.
which I can see him doing.
Right. No, he's a tremendously talented player, totally worth the dollars that we gave him, and like you said, a complete surprise. Like I actually interrupted I was having a huddle with my team, and I got the notification on my watch, and I was like, holy shit! And they're like, what? Oh, sorry, Blues News. So yeah, it totally surprised me. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a big fan of having it go 8 years, but you have to do that to get the AAV where it is. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was just as surprised as Bill, and I'm sure, Curt, you were too. It would just, there was a little rumor that came out. Was it Elliot Friedman earlier that day, or even the night before, that they were working on a contract extension, and there might be something released soon? And I remember thinking, yeah, maybe, maybe like a year or two. But yeah, 8-year deal. I was blown away by that. But I will say that I want to be mad. I want to say this is a Steen contract. This is what a lot of people were saying. They were comparing it to Steen's deal. But I think now we need to probably look at, I probably should look this up before the show, how old Steen was when he signed his deal as compared to when I see Curt getting ready to get on his computer there. So thank you, Curt. But yeah, how old Steen was compared to how Schenn is when he signs this deal. Because I don't know. I just feel like when Steen signed that deal, it was clear, and I think we even said it on this show, that he's at the back end of his career. This is going to be the latter years of Alexander Steen. But I think with Schenn, you still got 3 to 4 years of him being a top player for the Blues. Now, yes, it's 8 years, and again, you can argue all you want, and that's fine, that he's not going to be a impact player in year 6, 7, 8. But like Curt said, that becomes a tradable contract, I think, because your cap hit's still high, but what you're actually paying him is very low. And also, I think he's still going to be effective. I don't think he's going to be and again, I don't think Alexander Steen is ineffective. It's just he's a fourth line guy that's basically all he can give you. I think Schenn's going to be one of those guys, and I hate to make the comparison here, but you look at Joe Thornton, Jeremy Roenick at the end of their careers. Those guys, they can still step up and have big games, and still, if you in a pinch have to put them on the second line, they still could. And Roenick, I'm talking about at the end of his career. I think that's going to be Schenn. I think Schenn has a game where he can still step in and be a guy late in his career. So I don't think that when you look at this in 5-6 years, the rest of the salaries across the league, I don't think that's going to kill as much as maybe an Alexander Steen contract is right now.
Steen's contract is a 4-year contract, the one he's in now. First year of that contract was 2017-18. Excuse me. So
but when did he sign it? Didn't he sign it in 2015?
He's that early?
He signed it a while ago.
I thought so too, but
I was living in Dallas when he signed that contract.
Signed it
that
right
was
before
2000
Montreal game.
That was 2013. Hang on, I'm going to look it up. Go ahead and give your thoughts, Curt. I'll take care of it.
Well, let's see, his standard contract, 14, 15, 16, 17, 15, 16, 16, 17. Well, cap friendly is kind of confusing here because...
Okay, no, I got it. I got it here. So it's a 4-year contract that he signed. I guess he signed that in 2016.
Yeah, September 23rd,
right?
2016. That's when he signed it. His current contract. I see that now.
Is that right?
So yeah,
that's right.
It's and the one before that.
That's right.
The one before that he signed in 2013.
That's right. Okay.
So the 2013 contract he signed was a 3-year contract. 14, 15, 15, 16. 16-17, and that contract had a cap hit of 5.8. His current 4-year contract has a cap hit of 5.750, so essentially the same. So and he was and he was 30.
He was 32
when he signed this one. Right.
Yep. 32 when he signed this one. Base salary of 6.5 his first year, then to $7 million up till last year.
Base year 7.755 and then 3.5.
Okay, yeah,
That's what I got.
What I've got's a little off, but
Okay.
that's fine. It's close.
I've got cap friendly.
But again, 32. Yeah, I'm on Spot Track. But so he's 32 when he signed that. How old is Brayden Schenn right now?
28.
Yeah, so that's a 4-year difference.
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's not really the same as the Steen contract at all. I mean, age wise, or I mean, Steen will be 37 when this contract's up.
Yeah, Steen's was, you put the two Steen
36.
contracts together, it's similar.
Yeah, he'll be 36 when this one's over, but right. Yeah. So the same age when about the same age Shen's up when his is over.
Yeah.
So, Woodsy 22 says by the end of that term, the team will be in rebuild mode anyway, and that reminds me of, and I don't know if you were going to get to Doug Armstrong's comments in his presser. Somebody asked him, "Where do you see yourself in 8 years?" And he said, "What is that? What do you say? Like apologizing to the next GM of the Blues?"
That's true.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Woodsy's right. I mean that's going to be this team. The window's now to win, and that's why they want him back. They want him back, and they figure they could save a little money if they just tacked on a couple years, and that's what they did. And I think that's why I think this time next week we'll be talking about Petrangelo's extension in a very similar manner.
Yeah, so and speaking of which, the rumors are that the Blues and Petrangelo are close to a deal. I saw an article in the Hockey Writers that suggested that Armstrong is using Oliver Ekman-Larsson's contract, which is 8 years, $66 million, and has an $8.25 million cap hit as framework for Petrangelo's, and wants him to Armstrong wants Petrangelo to take a discount like Falk and Schenn did in exchange for term, so the team could largely stay together. So not unlike what they've done in Boston with their top line with Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak. So they've taken discounts to keep their team together for the most part.
Because they had to pay money to David Backes.
Right, yeah.
Wouldn't take a discount
Right.
to stay here.
Right, that's so funny.
Yeah, irony.
So that, and that contract framework would be right in line with my, more or less with my exact cap hit number that I suggested online the other day that I hoped Petrangelo was, the Blues were signing for. I had a conversation with Randy Carricker, who I respect tremendously. I love Carricker. I think he's got really good takes on just about every St. Louis sport. He's got a good hockey mind. He's got a great baseball mind, football mind. He just got good takes. And but I disagreed with him on his take on Twitter. We had a conversation about it, and he was under the impression that Petrangelo could get $10+ million on the open market. And I was like, man, I don't know.
He could.
He could. He might. But
I think he could.
If that's the case, I say, see ya. I'm not gonna.
No, totally.
And if he wants that money,
right?
But on the open market is different than him signing this year.
Right. And so I said, I think the Blues. I'm thinking the Blue. If he signs here, it's going to be a contract like $8-ish million cap hit.
Yeah,
I can see that.
The Blues aren't doing 9 or 10. They're not.
No.
There's no
they
way.
can't afford it. There's no way.
No.
They're going to be in cap hell worse than Toronto if they do that.
And I if somebody gives him $10 million, I mean, he's not. That would make him the third highest paid defenseman in the league. He's never won a Norris. He's not even in the conversation for being a nominee. I mean, he's a good defenseman. He's real good. But we've had issues with Petrangelo in the past, and it happened. I mean, he's not consistent enough,
right,
to warrant $10 million a year. $9 million plus. He's just not consistent enough.
But he's got 2 goals in 3 games.
I understand. And he had a great playoffs.
Yeah.
And he
was a monster in the playoffs.
Fantastic
defensively.
And some fans are like, well, you got to pay him for that. Okay. I mean, that's an argument you can try to make. I get it. But man, 8 years though. I mean, if that's the I mean, I say 6. I'd want to go 6 years. I'd go 6 years, 8.5 per. I think that's good.
Well, I guess it's going to come down to Armstrong. How much does he really believe that? That he'll be apologizing. In 8 years.
But the way that I see it is, it's worth it. And I know that it's easy to say that now and not in 8 years. The question will be, was it worth to have all these ridiculous contracts? Looking at like the LA Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks, I think the answer is yes. I mean, it's got to be, because if you can win multiple cups, right?
Sorry, Jeff. Is what worth it? Is $8 million worth it, or 10?
I'm saying all these contracts they're signing, all these extensions.
Oh, the Blues, right?
To these guys that are gonna be in their late 30s by the time they're up, and maybe even 40s. I think it's worth it. You go out and you win as many cups as you can. When you have that window open, you jump through it with streamers on your feet. I mean, you do it as much as you can.
And the Blues are in a unique situation here. They didn't lose a few players that they wanted to keep. They didn't lose a couple key guys after they won the Cup because of the cap. Like a lot of teams do. They lose a guy or two. Like a guy they acquired at the deadline, a high-priced guy that they as a rental that they lost. They didn't have that. They didn't have a big contract that's just that, we like to resign him, but we can't. We got to resign these guys, and just the cost of doing business with winning the Cup and having high-priced guys. The Blues don't have that problem. They traded away Edmondson, which, that was not a... Let's be honest, that was not a huge loss. Edmondson is a serviceable defenseman, can be really good, but he was inconsistent. And
what we got in return is much more
ridiculous.
Consistent.
Sure.
And
And Maroon is, we talked about him a lot. Personally, we're a better team without him. Plugging other guys in there in his spot. I like it.
Sammy Blais is making everybody forget about Pat Maroon.
Right. We're a better team this year.
Right.
So.
Oh, we are, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So, and I think that's a huge deal that the Blues don't have to deal with losing players that they wanted to keep after winning a Cup. So, and then keeping that together if you can, you do it because that's fantastic.
And
I think the question. Oh, go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, selling everybody on it right now while the feeling is still there and the season's starting off so strong. I think that's a key part of it too. Like, you bring in Justin Falk and you're showing people, it sent a message to the rest of the team that, we're not resting on our laurels as an organization. But at the same time, we talked about this last week when we were talking about the Falk acquisition. It's sending a message to Petra that we're building and you can be a part of it or you can't. If you choose you want more money, we've got two guys here that are going to be pretty damn good anyway.
I think Pietrangelo can sign here for $8-ish million per for 6 to 8 years if he wants that.
Right. I think he totally deserves to be one of the top 3 paid Blues.
Oh, yeah. So if he were to get $10 million on the open market, that would put him third highest paid in salary per season. Okay, so is he top 3 defenseman in the league? I don't think so. Not even.
Is Drew Doughty at this point?
But he was. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's won the Norris Trophy. So I mean,
but really, you look at when you think about. I think back to the Dion Phaneuf contract when he signed it with Toronto. Now, there's a lot of people who hated that contract. What was it, 5 years, and he was making like 7 per. It was a lot of money. But to the Toronto Maple Leafs, that was what they needed. They needed a guy who could log big minutes. Maybe he wasn't one of the best in the league, but you had to get him locked up because you needed a number 1 defenseman. And I think that's how Petro is going to go in if there is an open market for him, if he goes into free agency. And they say, well, you're not really a $10 million defenseman. Okay, but you need a guy who can step up to be that $10 million defenseman. That's the way his agent's going to pitch it. And I'm the guy that can do that. It's a different conversation than is he one of the top defensemen in the league? The question is he the top defenseman on your team? But the question is, I'm just asking, is he a top 3 defenseman? Is he a top 5? Is he top 10? You think he's top 10?
I'm thinking top 10 too. I think he's a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic defenseman. But I mean, I guess in my mind, and you made a good point, Jeff, but what you said. But I think in my mind, I think that, if I look at if he does sign for $10 million plus somewhere, I'm thinking, man, that's third highest, and I'm like, he's not third best. He's just, and that to me, you overpaying.
Right.
So I mean, and if he can get it and he wants it, more power to you. Go ahead. I mean, but
how often does the top 5 defensemen hit the open market?
Sure. No,
it doesn't happen.
I gotcha. I get it. And so people overpay for it.
Yeah,
I get it. But I agree. But my point is that if he gets that, he's being overpaid.
No, I
agree.
I don't disagree whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay.
But whenever anybody hits the open market, they're overpaid. Look at David Backes.
Not. You think Maroon's overpaid?
Yeah. No, not Maroon. No. Good call. But no, I'm saying
I get what
he's
you
a
mean.
different player.
Your elite players
a
tend
top
to
tier player.
Yeah, right.
They're going to get overpaid in the open market. That's how contracts keep going up, because these guys hit the open market and then they're just signing ridiculous deals.
He won't get 8 years though.
I don't think he won't get years. He'll get 5 at 10, 10.5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 5 at 10 or 6 at 8 or whatever. I don't know.
So.
It's half a dozen in one hand and 6 in another. I don't know.
There are still stupid old school mentality GMs that will throw both money and term at him.
I don't know. I guess. Actually, it's funny because before the rumors hit the other day that they were close to a deal, you'd hear it's always the Toronto people, the Toronto fans, the Toronto media. Mm-hmm. Well, Pietrangelo could be coming to the Maple Leafs if doesn't sign with the Blues. I'm like, yeah, you guys, every big name free agent that hits the market is going to Toronto. Every single fucking one.
Yep.
It's annoying as hell.
Even though they have like what $1 in cap space right now.
Yeah, and still have to worry about coming up with money for Austin Matthews, right?
When's his contract? His next year, right?
Next year.
He's up his last year contract this year?
Yeah. It's absurd. But, Toronto's the center of the hockey universe, so they believe.
Well,
they are. But talking about the Blues here, the question for me isn't, what do you do about Schenn? What do you do about Pietrangelo even before the Schenn contract was signed? It's who on this team right now, looking at this roster, who is expendable? Who is the expendable guy? Because you've got a Stanley Cup roster that obviously is going to be challenging for a cup for at least the next 2 to 3 years. Who is expendable? And I think that's what the Blues mentality is right now. I think that's what Armstrong did after the cup celebration was over. It was, okay, Pat Maroon, we could live without him. And then when the fall conversation started, okay, Joel Edmondson, you want him? Yeah, we could do without him.
The thing with Edmondson too is that he got a little more money than I think he should have gotten.
Oh, they didn't want to pay him that
arbitration,
much.
Right? Yeah. I think that probably. I mean, he wasn't making a ton, but it's like, I think he's making $1 million more than he should.
I think it was.
So,
I think it was all the conversation of I want to trade this guy started before even arbitration started, because I think Armstrong knew he was going to get more, and we all knew he was going to get more than he was probably worth. But that's the conversation, and so I'm going to throw out my hot take for right now, and of what I think the answer to this question is. You look at the big name players on this team, and obviously I'm leaving out the Bozaks and the Perrons. Those guys, if you can move them, I think you will over time. But I think Jaden Schwartz has become expendable.
I think you mentioned that last season. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know he was bad. He had a rough year until that first round in Game 5 when he came out of nowhere and scored that huge goal and then had the hat trick. It's nothing to do with any hate towards Jaden Schwartz. I love Jaden Schwartz. He's a heck of a hockey player. Always going to be up here for me because he brought this team a cup. One of the guys that brought this team a cup. But I just look at this roster and say, okay, obviously they want to keep Schenn. They're going to keep Tarasenko. They want to keep Falk. They want to keep Parayko. You can only keep maybe 5 to 6 guys through multiple cup runs if you're talking a span of about 4 or 5 years. And I think over time, Schwartz has become a guy that they think they can do without. So that's why Schenn was signed to this deal. Is I think Schenn has replaced Schwartz in that untouchable category, and I'm not saying that they're going to trade him or this season or anything, but I'm just saying I could see him through time becoming one of the guys that could be let go in order to let this team keep rolling on new contracts for these core players.
Right. I think Schwartz, at the early part of his career, before he had these successive ankle injuries, was, a lot of people were saying, well, this guy could one day be a captain of this team. And through the injuries and inconsistency, he's kind of played himself out of that role. Now, do the Blues win the Cup without his contributions in the playoffs?
That's tough. That's
Probably
that's a tough yes to say.
Yeah,
I mean, because
it is.
His contributions against Winnipeg alone.
Right. I mean,
Jesus.
it was timely. And I mean, who was it, Mr. Blueshat, or who was it that tweeted something about him in February? No, it was Semineta. He tweeted in February, Schwartz is just saving his goals for the playoffs, which was very prescient.
Yeah, hat trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hat trick against the Jets, hat trick against the Sharks, and
last second goal against Winnipeg to
the Bozak
complete the comeback.
Tip-in, yeah.
Oh my God.
And you go back and you watch Game 7, and like they were talking him up. Once NBC finally got around to talking up some of the Blues players because it was obvious we were going to win the Cup, they were praising his, and this is the most underrated part of his game, is his defensive work and his positioning and his ability to get in and get pucks off of people. It is very underrated, but he's always been looked at as a guy who's got to contribute more goals than he does during the regular season. And I think ultimately that's why he's played himself out of, maybe not played himself out of, but he's allowed other people to surpass him when it comes to, the importance to the long-term success of the team.
Schwartz has 2 assists in 3 games so far this season.
What's Tarasenko at?
Tarasenko, same, 2 assists. Sammy Blais, 2 goals, 2 assists.
I was going to say, I mean, I kind of feel like Tarasenko has kind of, I mean, it's been a very small sample size of games, but he has not been the Tarasenko that we have come to love and know for the past couple months. But it's funny you say that, and look at the record of this team, and you say, well, shit, wait until he turns it on.
Yeah. Well, which very well could be tomorrow night going into Ottawa.
That's true. Which, speaking of Ottawa, I had this marked down to talk about later, but since you brought it up, their website does not have standings listed in their main menu as a main link. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm with the Senators, I don't want people to know the standings either. You have to go into it's in a sub menu. The standings are in a sub menu on their website. That's weird.
But by design for sure.
Yeah, that's on purpose. It's under stats. The standings are under the stats category.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Alabama Blues fan says having Falk locked down for a while seems to give the Blues more leverage.
In the Pietrangelo deal, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that was one of the first things people were saying. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now the Blues don't have to.
We are starting to get Blues fans from all 50 states. We got Hawaii Blues fan that's contributed to the show. We've had the Nevada Blues fan. Now we've got Alabama Blues fan. Let's keep rolling them in. Let's hit all 50 states, folks.
Let's go for Wyoming next week.
Let's do that.
I guess there aren't many hockey fans in Montana, or
I'm sure there are plenty.
Nevada.
We have that.
We have Nevada.
Las Vegas. Yeah, it's true. I mean,
well, there's not any in Delaware because Delaware doesn't exist. I'm just saying. Have you ever met anyone from Delaware? Do you know of any landmarks in Delaware?
No, and
it doesn't exist.
And I've never seen it in person. Just
it's
seen pictures of it on TV. Huh.
It's not real.
You just blew my mind.
There you go.
Bob Basson says, power play is still making me ill. How long until we should be worried? Oh, he answered the only question. November 1st. You know what? To be honest, I thought the power play looks good. They just haven't capitalized.
Except for the Petra goal in the first game.
Right, which was a beautiful goal. My
Which
God.
clearly he belongs on the first power play unit.
That pissed me off so bad. I don't know how many conversations I had. Thank God Petra's finally off the power play. And he's the guy that gets the power play goal.
He scores a humdinger of a goal.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not. You said Jeff, small sample size with stuff, and the power play sucked. 10th in the league last year, but in the playoffs it was terrible. I'm not concerned yet. You give Falk time to start gelling with people, and I've actually liked the way it's looked.
Yeah.
They moved the puck very well. They've just been, and they gave up a shorthanded goal. But I think the power play will come around. I'm optimistic
I think so
about it.
too. Well, it's not only that the addition of Falk, and then you've already got guys on this team that are, you look at the numbers that Schenn's put up on the power play and Tarasenko, that we talked about him last week, the assistant coach addition of Mark Savard, power play specialist in his day, power play coach. Just give it time. I don't think we're concerned yet. And you know what? At the end of the day, as much as I hate to say this, because you do want your power play to gel, the Blues are winning games, and they won a Stanley Cup with a shitty power play. So at the end of the day, you can win without a good power play. You want to see them convert a little more than they have.
Yeah, it's harder to win without a good power play. But if your 5-on play is really good, then obviously you don't need it, but at least as much. The season opener versus Washington was an overtime loss, 3-2. Banner raising ceremony. We talked about Falk as far as participating in this or not participating in this. He actually didn't. He was out there and they went back. Did you hear that?
I heard he was actually the one that went out and actually raised the banner for him. He actually lifted it up. You couldn't see him. He was wearing all black clothes.
I was not.
But they put him on wires and he lifted up the banner for everybody.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
apparently,
by the way.
and he was asked about it, and he said something along the lines of, that's their achievement. I mean, that's I'll let them enjoy that. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
he came out because everybody got announced. So do it in numerical order, and then he gets announced, and then just goes back to the locker room.
Yep.
And I mean, kind of classy.
Right. Oh, on his own. He said he did it on his own, which I think I would have done the same thing.
Well, I mean, yeah. What do you do? What's the alternative? I mean, you don't want to stand up. What are you going to go sit in the corner of the rink? Are you going to go sit on the bench? I mean, that's a weird position to be put in. So that's probably the best answer you can give.
I'm sure the team. Maybe they talked to him about it, and I'm sure they would never say you can't come out here. Yeah. That would be a weird thing. What if he wanted to be out there? Well, go ahead, whatever. But I'm sure the team did not tell him, no, don't come out here. That would be a really bad.
Hey, loser in the Eastern Conference Final.
Right.
You stay out of here.
The Blues jumped out to a 2.
Well, hang on. Let's talk a little bit more about the ceremony. So what you guys, I think it kind of started, maybe it was last year with Washington, the skating the cup on the rink again, and obviously they didn't get to do it at Enterprise at the end of last season. What do you guys think of doing that before the next season?
I thought it was fine since they didn't raise the cup on the ice here when they won it.
Right.
I thought it was fine.
That's how I feel.
Allow them to present it to the fans.
I actually liked it. I saw him do it. I'm like, I like that. That's cool.
Right.
I mean, I'll admit when I.
It was
the
only
first time I saw
it. It was only the cap. It was only potential and Steen and Tarasenko.
Yeah.
Tarasenko.
It was
just the captains.
Just the
right.
captains.
They didn't overdo it. They didn't bring Chris Thorburn back out.
Yeah. Oh, God, that'd have been awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome, Pat Maroon. No, I think it was Washington that did it first. And at first, I remember when I watched that last year, I thought, really? Like, come on, it's the next season. It's time to defend it. Stop skating it. But then as the season went along, I actually thought it hit my head, about like November, December-ish. And I thought, they won it on the road. So, like, doing that in front of your fans one time, yeah, you get the parade, but you don't really get to skate it, which is just a completely different thing. I became okay with it. And then obviously seeing the Blues do it this year, it was cool. It was really cool to see on Enterprise ice, the Blues skate the cup, because they didn't get to do that before. They took that picture with it. I think that was the day of the parade, because there's a couple drunk-looking Blues players in that picture. But they didn't get to skate it in front of the fans. So being able to do that at the home opener, I was all for it. I thought that was really cool.
3-2 OT loss. We actually, in every game this season, we've scored first. And this game jumped out to a 2-0 lead on 2 beautiful goals.
Yeah,
Oh,
quick start.
My God.
Quick start, Blay goal. Beautiful.
Perron, fantastic pass.
Yeah,
back
Perron.
door, 53 seconds in.
Perron's setup so far this year, man.
Him and Blay have teamed up for a couple goals.
Yeah,
nice ones.
They look great together.
When he decides to pass the puck and not try to make 3 extra moves, he's right on the tape every time. He's very accurate with his passes, and I wish he would do that more often.
So Blay got the goal from Perron 53 seconds in, and then at the 7:55 mark of the first, Pietrangelo scored on the power play, which we touched on a bit ago, from Ovechkin's office. I mean, and it was very Ovechkin-like, and the one-timer from the dot,
top of the circle.
Oh God, yeah,
beautiful.
Just blew it by upper glove by Holtby.
Great shot, but did I just read this wrong? The way that he shot it, it looked uncomfortable. Like the way that he one-timed that puck, I don't think it didn't look very smooth to me. It was kind of like a oh shit, let's get the shot off. And I mean, it worked, and it was a beautiful shot. But it was just, I feel like his body positioning, he looked very awkward in doing it.
That's a sign of a good player that can get that kind of a shot off when it's an oh shit moment. Oh shit, gotta get it off, and you get that kind of a shot off.
That was almost a John Kelly analysis there. I like that. That's like a sign of a good player there, Panger.
Of course it is. Yeah, he's the best player in the world.
Why wouldn't he?
And of course, the Caps came back to tie it with 2 unanswered. Bouwmeester bites on the Ovechkin fake, and the toe drag and shot using Parayko as a screen that beats Binnington far post in the first period. I criticized the Blues play in the past when Ovechkin scores and got jumped all over on Twitter because the Blues fans will say, "It's Ovechkin. It's Ovechkin. You can't defend that. It's Ovechkin." I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, he's a fantastic player and he can score some amazing goals that are really hard to defend. But come on, every goal he scores is not like a come on. But I think, yeah, whatever. So I was not a fan of the way Bouwmeester played that, but whatever. And then Orlov tied the game on the power play off of Steen's stick and over Binnington's shoulder. Kind of a bad break tip.
Yeah, going back and watching those goals over again, there were saves that if they're clean through, or shots that if they're clean through, Binnington makes the save.
Oh yeah.
But Parayko standing right in front of him on the Ovechkin release, and maybe you can fault Binnington a little bit because Ovechkin's going to be shooting, so maybe be out just a step higher. But again,
he didn't see it though.
He didn't see it.
So.
And then
Bill,
the Orlov shot. I mean, Steve, it's just it does is just 1 millimeter off of Steen's stick changes trajectory, fools him.
It's like the goal in the finals. Was it Edmondson shot it and it went off somebody, one of the defensemen's skates that went over Rask's shoulder, like just as upper corner as you can go. Kind of a really lucky bounce, but it was a big goal. That kind of thing. I mean, just goalie can't defend that.
But I want to ask you. I know that we got a couple more. Oh, it was Bortuzzo.
Yes,
that's right.
On Grizzlies.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Bill, being the goalie guy here, and I know we got a couple more games to touch on here, but overall, you think Binnington's answered the bell pretty well to open the season?
He's got a 9.46 save percentage 5-on-5. Is that right?
Right. So
And 9.2 something on a power play
yeah. So he's.
or penalty kill.
I think a lot of people came into this season expecting him to walk on water, and just be lights out and play 100% in the zone.
You think a lot of people did? Like, I know there were a lot of people that did, I guess, but
He technically is walking on water. just want to point that out.
that's
That
water is melted ice.
Yeah,
It's actually not water. I'm just saying it's not.
It's in a
water.
frozen state. It's
It's
a matter at this point,
it's a
right?
chemical. It's not really water. It's a chemical. The chemicals are mixed in with the water. It freezes at a higher temperature than water does. Do you know that?
Next on Talking Science with Curt
Mr.
Price.
Wizard. It does. The ice they use in NHL ranks or hockey ranks freezes at a higher temperature than regular water because they put something in it. It's not really water. Just saying.
and it makes sense.
It does.
It makes total sense. But I think that there have been a couple goals that Binnington would like to have had back, but you go to not to skip too far ahead, but you go to Monday night's game, and the save he makes in the third period on the shorthanded attempt by, I'm not even going to attempt to say the name, the Russian rookie that made the Leafs. It was reminiscent of the Nordstrom save that completely,
That was beautiful.
I was
it
thinking the same thing.
cemented the win.
Yeah. It wasn't quite as dramatic, but it was like in the same kind of save. Yeah.
Right.
It was. Yeah. I thought the same thing.
And a
his
big save when the
ability-
team needed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
His ability to deliver the save when it's needed, and his apparently innate ability to maintain his upper balance without falling over on his stomach and pushing across. I mean, how many times did we laugh and ridicule Jarl Halak for trying to make a save while on his face because he couldn't do that. He couldn't prop himself up while pushing across. It's a thing of beauty.
Could you do that in your day, Bill?
No.
Were you a good lateral moving goalie?
No.
Bill was good at breaking the sticks over the crossbar.
Oh, good.
That was my signature move. Give up bad goal, break stick over crossbar.
He was a la Ed Belfour. Ronnys scores in the overtime.
That was a frustrating goal.
Yeah,
He-
curls the zone and lets a wrist shot go that beat Binnington under the glove, over the pad, off of Binnington.
And it was just bad containment by the Blues. It's like he's a rookie; he's not going to do anything. They give him just enough space to get off a shot.
Yeah,
and
I didn't like the goal on Binnington.
No,
I thought it was
no.
a softie. One he looked like he saw and looked like he should have had, but I mean,
Jake Allen would have clearly had it.
you never know. He is a top tier backup,
Of course, yes. No, I wasn't a fan of the goal on Binnington either. I think overall, I mean, it wasn't like it was. I wouldn't go as far to call it soft, but it's one that I think he normally has. But I will say that when I saw Vrana curl and come in on his forehand like that and just kind of go around all three Blues, I think he got away from Schenn on that play. Right away, I mean, even before the guy shot, I said, okay, here's a goal. I mean, I knew it. I knew it was coming just because that was poor management by the Blues, like Bill said. And then, like Curt said, the Binnington, again, one he probably should have had. But, give a little credit to Vrana. The guy, that was a good shot, well-placed,
He
and
did
very
put it on
hard.
net.
Yeah, he put it on hard. He put it on net, which is more than Steen can say. Am I right? Woo. But no, it was a good play for the Capitals. But at the same time, you look at that as a Blues fan or as a Blues coach, and you say, yeah, he probably should have never gotten that shot off in the first place.
The Caps.
I think they underestimated his speed on that play.
Possibly, or they just it was 3-on-3 and guys get space. Caps outshot the Blues 34-22. Blues were 1 for 2 on the power play. Caps were 1 for 3. Now, I thought the Blues came out on fire in this game. The best period of the season was the first period of Game 1, minus the last 5 minutes of it.
Right.
They were amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally emotionally charged.
Yeah.
You see it one of two ways with a banner raising in that kind of ceremony. Teams either come out emotionally supercharged and dominate like the Blues did, or they just fall flat and get walked the entire game. And it seems like we've already fallen back into the typical pattern we're used to, where the Blues forget to show up for the second period of games.
Which has happened a lot this season so far.
3 games,
Yeah.
3 times.
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah, and speaking of which, I tweeted this out, and because it's important. Todd Reardon, head coach of the Capitals,
Former Blues
Blue.
great.
former Blues great, looks like that one Lowe's employee that is not allowed to drive the forklift. That's what he looks like to me.
Too funny.
I don't know. That's it popped into my head. I'm like, why am I thinking that? But that's
Print
him.
it.
Print. Put it out there.
There are
gold,
so
Jerry,
many
gold.
coaches, I feel like, in the NHL. Boudreau, Trotz, they all look like the same guy. And I think that Reardon is slowly morphing into that.
Yeah.
Boudreau looks like the guy that would greet you going into Lowe's.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
There is the name of this episode. Boudreau looks like the guy that would greet you at Lowe's.
Josh Webster says, would not be surprised to see the Caps and Blues in the finals this year.
I would love that.
That'd be great. The last 2 Cup winners facing off.
Because
in the
honestly, man, like as much as I enjoyed the Stanley Cup final last year, I just went into it, and obviously throughout the entire time, just like everyone else in St. Louis, and probably everyone else in the country except in the Northeast, was saying, God, I hate the Bruins. I hate the Bruins. And yeah, obviously when you play a team in the playoffs, 7-game series, there's going to be a little bit of hate there, but I feel like I would like full on really enjoy a series against the Washington Capitals because they're not a team that I hate. I don't look at them and say they've got a Brad Marchand. They've got a bunch of whiny bitch fans.
They do have a Tom Wilson, though.
They do have a Tom Wilson. There's always got to be a villain. And if he's the only villain on that team right now, I mean, I guess maybe Oshie.
Tom Wilson does dish out clean hits, though. So.
Okay. When's the next recording of that show?
Wow. Oh, man. I don't know. They're on hiatus. Huh?
Yeah.
They're on hiatus?
I was going to say the word is hiatus.
Yeah, hiatus.
Yep.
Permanent vacation. Cool. Listen, Aerosmith. And light sound geometry analog electronics. Scuba says, how does Falk look? I think he's looked good in the spurts. What do you guys
He's
think?
been fine.
Yeah, he's been fine.
You
You notice him in spurts, like making a play. And say, oh, that was slick. Kind of
there,
thing.
you think of like the defenseman the Blues have acquired over time, and when they first got Shattenkirk, he was flashy as can be, and this guy's going to be a superstar. You think of like Zbigniew Michalek when they got him. He didn't really impress me. I know he was a defensive defenseman, but he was out of position a lot. I know he was coming off an injury, but there was always a lot of times where it was, okay, what the hell? Why are we playing this guy? Why is this guy in the lineup? I haven't gotten any of that with Falk yet. There hasn't been any, oh shit, what are you doing? He's obviously not getting the system. There hasn't been any moments like that with him. And he hasn't been, a Ryan O'Reilly out there, but I mean, he's making the plays. He's playing smart. Passes are on the tape. He's not trying to make the extra move. He's doing all the right things, and I think he's just trying to get himself comfortable with the system, and I'm looking forward to see how he'll look in 10, 15 games.
Game 2, St. Louis versus Dallas, was a 3-2 Blues win. This game, I was looking out of the first half of this month to start the season. This is the game I was excited about. The home opener, obviously, right? Doesn't matter who you play, you're excited, but this game against Dallas, I was jazzed for this game because obviously, game 7, double overtime, could have gone either way. Fantastic series. The
last time Dallas was on Enterprise Ice, they were shaking hands.
And the last shot that Bishop faced last season was a goal. And the first shot he faced this season against the Blues was a goal.
Yep.
So 2 in a row going against Bishop, but separated by an offseason against the Blues. And the Blues scored early for the second straight game, and Perron and Blais were involved again. Blais passed to Perron on the rush after entering the zone, and Perron receives the pass across his body, lets a quick high shot go that beat Bishop high glove. That is, for those of you who have not played, that's a ridiculously hard play to make. To receive the pass across your body and then get the shot off that quick with that much mustard on it and put it in that spot, holy hell. That was a really difficult play, and he made it look super easy.
I will be honest with you. The last time I attempted that exact play, I fell flat on my face.
Most people, I think, are just trying to shovel it at the net
right,
and not try to put any kind of direction on it.
A lot of zip on it, and it was a well placed. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
The Blues scored. I mentioned that already. Then for the second straight game, the Blues surrendered the lead after scoring first, which, whatever. Giving up goals to Janmark, which is a shorthanded goal.
Own goal.
Own goal, yeah.
Jaden Schwartz.
Heiskanen. Yeah, that, and I just wanted, like, Schwartz, what the fuck?
Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you.
Jesus
I'm glad
Christ.
you agree.
I mean, Binnington is 6 inches away from covering it, and he comes in and sweeps it away like he's Gunnarsson in the final last year in Game 7.
Early season jitters.
I'm like, I get it, buddy. I'm like, I don't. There was no one there. I mean, there was a guy trailing Schwartz, but all Schwartz has to do is kind of like box out the guy coming in, but Binnington had it anyway. He was gonna. There was no way no one was gonna. It was a covered puck, and Schwartz fucked it up.
I think that's the difference between a defenseman like Gunnarsson or just a defenseman in general, because that's your focus in practice. And if there's a loose puck, you get it out, whatever, you shove it into the goalie, whatever you need to do. You can tell that's not a play that Schwartz has practiced a lot lately, because that's not a play you make. You don't shovel it like that when you're the first stick there. And he put it right in his own net. That was not a good play. And I know a lot of people were, he was trying to come back. But Curt, I'm with you. Man, that's a play where you just have to just get your body there, stand on top of the crease, and let Binnington come back and make that cover. I mean, that was just all around a terrible play by Jaden Schwartz.
Mr. Blues Hat says, no, the Blues played Dallas in the preseason. Like, those don't count.
You may have paid for it, but it doesn't count.
Loser.
Oh, that's too much.
No,
too soon.
okay,
You're
fine.
such
He's a champion.
dick, Jeff.
He's a champion.
We're all champions.
I'm sorry. We're all champions.
We're all champions.
How's that $600 ring treat you there, Mr. Blues Hat?
We cannot complain because we won the cup.
That's right.
No criticism. We should go a show with not criticizing anything.
That's right.
we should.
Did we do that last season?
We won the cup show.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to complain about a damn thing. See how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, we could say like, that's an own goal on Schwartz, but we won the cup.
Lowest rated show of all time. Call it right now.
And we have a brand new audience of annoying people.
Yes. Yes. So we have the Schwartz own goal credited to Radek Faksa, and then Miro Heiskanen.
Yep.
Back the other way. It looked like the Blues were just about to get out of a bad odd man situation. Uncharacteristic turnover by Ryan O'Reilly in the offensive zone leads to the odd man rush the other way. Looks like Binnington makes the save, but we can't get a clearance around the net. And I thought it was a pretty damn good snipe from Heiskanen.
I did too. I was going to say
that angle.
It was really. I mean, it's one of those plays you see it from time to time, where a goalie slides across, has the post covered, and from an angle they just zip it, and it goes like tucks it under the crossbar, over the shoulder by the ear. And if you're a goalie, unless you can whip your head away and get your face mask in front of it, it's going in.
We enjoy doing that, but
right.
You have to convince yourself to do it.
And it was that was a great shot. I mean, I'm not gonna. I saw it. I'm like, wow, that's a snipe.
Yep.
That guy's skilled. He's very skilled with the puck.
Probably more likely to win a Norris than Pietrangelo at this point.
That might be true.
if Pietrangelo puts up
If he
some
continues
offensive
the
numbers,
pace
yeah.
that he's at now, he's
in
gonna,
the conversation.
especially because he is the image of the NHL,
right,
holding the cup. And
I don't think defensively alone he gets nominated, but he has to put up the offensive numbers, which generally speaking you have to do anyway.
Let's
But
say that's what
Right.
you have to do.
I know, but if people talk about, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. So trailing 2-1 going into third, Schenn ties the game about 5 minutes in. Tarasenko drops the puck for Schenn as they enter the zone. Schenn lets a wrister go from the top of the circle that handcuffs Bishop up high. Pops up in the air, hits him in the back, rolls down towards the goal line, and Faksa dives to try and keep the puck out, but he hits it in his own net. The puck was going in anyway.
we traded own goals.
Right, and the difference being that this one was going in anyway, and the one on Binnington was not. But yeah. So and this goal was kind of reminiscent of the double overtime goal that Maroon scored on Bishop. A little bit
Over the shoulder.
up over the shoulder behind him, lands behind
Leaker
him.
behind him,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You think Bishop was just being nice to the fellow Blues fans and just saying, you know what, let's give him a little memory of Game 7. That's what I think. I think he's a nice guy.
I'm gonna say he's a nice guy, but I'm gonna say that is.
Yeah, he looked pissed after that
Yeah,
goal.
he was very pissed, which I don't blame him.
And Sammy Blais scores midway through the third to give the Blues a 3-2 lead. After Dallas icing, the Blues win the draw, and Gunnarsson takes a shot from the point, which was going about 10 feet wide.
Until it hits Blais right in the ass.
It's Blais in the ass or the leg, and redirects under Bishop, who didn't really come close to wrapping in time.
Right, but it also went off of Taylor Fadoon's glove, so it was a multiple deflection.
Okay, either way,
nothing Bishop could do.
No. That's a fluke, and it happened. Blues outshot the Stars 30-22. Both teams over 2 on the power play. So first
30-29, I believe, were the shots.
What'd I say?
Right.
You said 22.
30-29. I wrote down 29. Okay, sorry.
So
Sorry.
what we didn't talk about, and I think the key to this game was the overturned offside.
Oh, yeah.
Or the offside
Yeah.
that overturned the goal.
Right, I forgot about that.
It felt reminiscent of all the calls going the right way. Like the magic from the playoff run was still there.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You
it's
know?
true. It's
That's-
we're getting these calls still. Oh, my God.
Hey,
This
you
is
know what?
fantastic.
When you're good, you're lucky.
That's right.
Yeah, you've got to be lucky to be good. You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, and we talked about this a lot. You do not win the cup. I don't care who you are, without being lucky at a number of times along the way. You just don't do it. You need some luck. You have to.
Yep. And
Just
you also
don't
need
burn
a
it
good
up
eye.
all at once.
You need a good eye in the sky, and I think the Blues have one of the best in the league, to be quite honest.
Right, and they said they were talking about how
Yeah,
they
it has helped
added
now.
to
Yeah.
they added to Farrell's video staff because of the multiple challenges available.
Yep.
And you have a short window to make that decision.
Yeah. And the
Yep.
Blues have proven to be quite good at it,
Yes,
which
Yeah.
we appreciate.
that's what we appreciate about them.
And it was offside. It didn't take him that long to make that call either. It was a fairly it was a fairly quick review. I mean, it was close. It was real close. But he was offside.
And Jeff definitely given props to the ref. He's the best at the suspense.
Oh yeah, I know. I love it. I love
Wes
it.
McCauley. He is so good at
The
that.
play was determined to be offside.
No goal.
Yeah, so good.
I love it.
So
He's-
good.
And I was actually
And-
he got injured during the Boston series. He was supposed to call one of the games, and like at first shift he got injured, and they had to replace him with one of the other buffoons. And I thought that was a huge loss for that series. But
That's what I appreciate about Wes McCauley. Is that what you appreciate about me?
That's what I appreciate. Mr. Blues has.
You know, let me add something real quick. My ice hockey team, I made reference to that show. I said, fucking embarrassing, after we gave up a goal, and nobody on the bench got it. And I just said, I threw my arms up and I said, Letterkenny, and nobody even knew what it was. I'm like, how are you hockey players?
I was going to say, are you hockey players or?
Oh, God.
We are good for at least one Letterkenny reference a show.
Figure it
Yes,
out.
we are.
Figure it out.
To
You
be
figure
fair.
it out.
To be fair,
To be fair.
figure it out.
New season's coming out this week, isn't it?
Yes, it actually came out yesterday. Started yesterday.
Oh, boy.
I need to exercise my Hulu free trial.
Ah, you better make sure to pay special attentions to the buttholes.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, folks, go on Hulu and watch the show Letterkenny. It is fantastic.
Mr. Blues Hat in the YouTube chat says, I went a week without criticizing once. Worst week of my life. I think that's a lie. I don't think you can go a week without doing that. That's
You remember when he did that, right?
Redonkulous. He did?
Yeah, he did it on Twitter.
Are you serious? I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, it was this past season.
I apologize for the lie accusation.
Sunshine
Yeah, no,
rainbows.
He was quite positive. And he even,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
I think we even talked about, because
It
we
was
had a
absurd.
show where we
was-
said, like, hey, we should follow Mr. Blues Hat
Yeah.
and not criticize the team for an entire show.
Was that last year or the year before? It was this because it was the whole social media influencer thing, right?
Oh, yeah, it was.
Maybe
that
that's what
was
it
the year
was.
before. I think it was 2 years ago. And now I remember that. And so, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Oh, where are we?
We're talking St. Louis and Toronto.
St. Louis and Toronto, 3-2 win for the third time in 3 games this season. The Blues score first, this time in the second period. Sundqvist, that's what you call us a soft goal, Anderson. It was not a good goal to give up.
I mean, I will say it was perfectly placed.
That was good. That was a good shot. It was a nice shot.
Perfectly placed, but you don't give that goal up.
No, he saw the whole way.
Right, and it was reminiscent of his goals in the Jet series. Just walk across the blue line and let a clapper go.
Yeah. Enter the zone, pretty much one-on-one, and just let one rip from the top of the right circle, and beat Anderson under his trapper.
Man, I just have I mentioned lately that I love Sundqvist's game. Holy cow!
What's not to
everything he
like?
does.
Yeah, from a guy.
And why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
From
Gross.
a guy that couldn't turn a circle without skating 180 feet 2 years ago to key component of the fourth line. I mean, he's a beaut.
He's a beaut. And for the third time in 3 games, the Blues gave up the lead. Still in the second period, Gauthier got his second of the season after a Gunnarsson turnover behind the net. Comes in front and some fantastic hand-eye coordination by Spezza. My
God.
Lord.
Shoving it right up the Toronto coaching staff's ass that they scratched him for game 1. Holy shit, what skill.
Essentially juggling the puck, knocking it out in midair to center it off of Schenn's and then off of Schenn's body to Gauthier, who puts it in the open side. That's a goal where you see you're like, well, can't do a whole lot about that weird goal. I mean,
Yeah.
aside from take a penalty and hold somebody.
Pitter patter.
Let's get at her.
Let's get at her.
The Leafs scored again on a fun to watch bang ping pong passing play just after entering the zone that ended with a beautiful finish in front with Nylander reaching across the crease and stuffing it in the near side. Another nice goal, and this was like
24 seconds later.
right after, less than.
Am I the only one that does this? Every time Nylander scores, I say there can only be one.
That's you need to be on the the in-game presentation.
I'll work on it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll call up my friend Ray Ferraro, who was interviewed in this game, by the way.
Right. Yeah,
He does the color on
First Sportsnet.
Yeah.
He does a fantastic job.
Yeah, he is.
Chicken parm.
Yep, he's quite amazing. Except that he on the Gauthier goal, he really was trying to force, kept calling him the GOAT.
Yeah.
The GOAT. I didn't like that.
Kind of like people force Boom Gunnarsson.
Yeah. Holy
Or
jumping.
one person doing that. And the what is it? The
Swizzle
factor.
Schwartz.
God.
Yeah, O'Reilly.
The Factor's
God.
O'Reilly.
Who
Yeah.
said that?
The same guy.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never heard this?
No.
Yeah.
You must be tuning him out throughout the game.
Schwizzle Sports.
Oh, I know. I heard
Stop
that.
with Swizzle
Yeah.
Swartz. It's not
Swizzle
going to
Swartz is-
happen.
We've said it before. That's stupid.
Oh. Otherwise, Panger, we love you.
I like Pang. I do. I like that. But
Prost.
no one's perfect. Prost.
Po Buddy's nerfect.
Still in the second period, Schenn ties the game up after Schwartz was stoned on a backhand chance in tight. He has the puck in the corner and tries to pass to a covered Tarasenko in the low slot. The puck hits a body, slides to an open area in the slot where Schenn swoops in and buries it 5-hole.
See,
Toronto,
that was just perfect awareness by Schenn to step in right in that spot.
right,
Loved it.
because he knew Toronto wouldn't have any defensemen in the slot, which is
Yeah.
pretty bad.
If you want to score in Toronto, go to the slot,
Just-
right?
I was going to say you don't have to. You didn't have to clarify. You could have just said Toronto doesn't have any defensemen.
Oh, except that somebody in Toronto has already written an article this year that Morgan Riley is as good as Bobby Orr.
Is that right?
Yes.
No,
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I really do tune out Toronto media. I really do. They're just absurd.
Yeah, there's so one of my.
It's like they're living in the rose-colored glasses for Toronto is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Pump the
so
brakes.
One of my favorite goalie follows in the NHL in hockey Twitter is a Sensa's Blocker. He's a Jets fan. Goalie memorabilia, like you would not believe. This guy's my idol. But he tweeted out a story that was written by somebody in the Montreal Gazette about how Hockey Night in Canada is actually just Hockey Night in Toronto. And one of the examples in the article was somebody calling out that Morgan Riley is as good as Bobby Orr.
Wow.
Like, how can you even try to make that comparison? Just no. Just no.
I mean, your credibility is kind of shot. I mean, whatever.
I have no response.
Yeah, I mean, that's I have no words. Third period, Pietrangelo scores the game-winning goal. 7:51 into the period. Blais and Perron again working in the puck in the corner. Turnaround shot by Blais blocked. Perron gathers loose puck, shows great patience. It's not like Trump. Shows great patience. He shows the best patience, and finds Pietrangelo pinching in at the face-off dot across the slot, and Petro puts it over Anderson, who was down before the pass and was kind of swimming across the crease a bit. Didn't look good in the replay. I didn't like if I was a Toronto fan, I would be critical of Anderson's play on that. So,
But I want to say, I think Frederik Andersen's a hell of a goalie. I think it's one of the best goalies they've had in a while. But I want to quote somebody. When I went to see Al McInnes get inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2007, this was the time they had, Vesa Toskala and Andrew Raycroft, right?
Yep.
And I remember asking a guy in Toronto, a fan of the Maple Leafs, what do you think of your goaltending? And he said, "Oh, it's great. I mean, we always seem to have the best two backups in the NHL." and I loved that quote. So whenever I see a Toronto goalie do something stupid, I can't help but think of that.
That's funny.
Hey, quick trivia question: who was Andrew Raycroft acquired for?
Tuukka Rask.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, that's
Can
a
you
real
imagine?
thing.
Can you
That
imagine?
happened.
Tuukka Rask beat Toronto in 2 Game 7s over his career.
And the first one was that comeback.
That insane
Oh, my
third period
God, yeah.
comeback.
There'll be another in his career, at least one.
Oh yeah, it'll probably happen this year.
I was going to say this year, if they make the 7 games.
Binnington I thought was very good in this game. My God. Leafs shot the Blues 34-30. Blues were 0-for-3 on the power play. Leafs 0-for-2. Face-off percentage dead even at 50% each. Blues are now 2-0-1 through 3 games and are in first place in the Central Division. Barring, were there games tonight in the Central? I didn't look.
Who cares? They're all below us.
I've got it right here.
Cardinals won. Who cares?
No complaining. Cardinals won.
No games in the Central tonight.
Okay, so we're still in first place.
Vancouver is leading
Vancouver!
4-1 over the LA Kings. The Buffalo Sabres knocked off my Montreal Canadiens 5-4, and the Philadelphia Flyers behind Carter Hart's first NHL shutout. Shut out the New Jersey
I started
Devils.
him tonight.
Ooh, Carter Hart.
Nice. And this has been your NHL Roundup with Bill Day.
The Sens are 0-2-0 so far this season. So, I mean, this is a game that the Blues should win, but, we'll see. We're on the road. Never know.
Robbie Fabry, just remember defensive zone coverage.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
We're
geez.
still talking about your bad game.
They're
in
going.
Ottawa
They're
last
going
year.
to sit him just because of that one play half a year ago. No, and you mentioned the Blues, the record. I mean, yeah, I know it would have been nice if they would have won that first game, but 2-1 through 3 games. I mean, in 2 of those games, you got Washington and Toronto, 2 of the best teams in the East, and then Dallas, who, let's face it, is probably going to be one of the best teams in the Central this year, and
But
they're
didn't get their
2-1.
first win till last night, right?
I think that's correct.
They won this night?
Yeah, overtime.
Yep.
It was, terrible
big goal
play terrible play by Ovechkin in overtime.
Yep, and a
Kinda
big goal by
Marchand.
Ulf Dallin to end it.
Yeah,
Guy that played for both those teams. Nice reference. I love it.
Thank you.
Dallas is
Thank you.
1-3, 2 points through 4 games.
Yeah, I just saw Daryl Ray tweeted out off the schneid. So
Montgomery, who's that?
What?
Binnington quote.
Oh, right.
Mine.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who's that? Dallas's head coach? Oh,
Oh,
cool. Cool.
God, he's the best. Is he not the best?
He's got the perfect mentality for a goalie. He really does.
It's so weird because, like I've said this before, that since I've been in the media, especially, but I know you guys agree too. Like with just being adults, you don't find yourself like infatuated with athletes like you used to when you were kids. But man, every time I see, oh, we're going to talk to Jordan Binnington, or like on the Blues Facebook page, see what Jordan Binnington had to say. I have to watch it. I have to see everything he says because he is so goddamn awesome. Am I the only one that feels that way?
No, he's a fantastic interview.
He's fantastic.
You can't. I mean, it's
I
funny.
wish I had someone like him when I was in the media.
It's funny because I always thought Brett Hull was a great interview. I love just whatever
funny.
he would say. The stuff that would come out of his mouth, I couldn't wait to hear it. Binnington is great in a completely different way. It's just you never know what he's going to say, but he says very little.
Yeah, I remember somebody in the media last year. I think it was in probably Toronto media. Not surprised that Binnington's like he's so he's so disrespectful to the media, and for being a rookie, he needs to have more respect. And I'm like, no. As a former media member, that was what we wanted. We wanted quotes like that because it gave us. It wasn't the generic bullshit you hear from every single player after a game. It was hey, whoa, listen to what this kid just said.
People don't understand. People don't get him. They don't get him.
I love it. I'm
I
all
do too.
for it. Keep
I do
going,
too.
Jordan.
Oh, we're about done.
yeah, yeah. We've covered all the
We've covered
all the
it.
goals.
We've checked everything off the list we have here. And Mr. Blue
So
says that it was 2 years ago.
overall-
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Mr.
2
Blue
years
said.
ago.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah. So overall, guys, again, I know it's easy to look at the record and the goal differential and say, yeah, the Blues are looking great. But what are your thoughts? Is this pretty much after 3 games? Has this been kind of what you've expected? Have they exceeded? What's your thoughts after 3 games of the season?
I'm very happy with Binnington so far. I think he's been good. I think the team needs to play a little more consistently throughout the clean up their second periods. My God, I think that they were 2-0-1, beating some really good teams, gotten 5 out of 6 points, and we haven't played as good as this team is. So yet, I mean, their best period was in game 1, period 1. In a game they lost in overtime. So, I'm I can't complain because we're Cup champions. So
Right.
what do you want me to say?
Has there been anybody who has not met your expectations? Anybody you're like, he's kind of taking a back seat to start the season?
Jake Allen.
The only one,
because he hasn't played yet.
the only one that I can think of, and it's not even a knock on him. It's just he hasn't been as noticeable, and I think maybe it's just because there's other guys stepping up like Sammy Blay and Ryan O'Reilly. Is Robert Thomas?
Well, he's been hurt.
I feel like when he was playing.
Yeah. He only played, one and a half games?
One game, but I'm talking about the preseason too. And maybe it was because he was hurt. But he just didn't look like the same guy we saw last season. Now, I'm not saying it's anything to be concerned about at this point. It could easily just be the injury. It could just be, early season jitters, whatever. But if I'm really looking for a negative, that's the one thing I would say. But other than that, I'm very happy with the play of this team. Seeing Jordan Binnington back there now, it's so weird to have confidence in your goalie. And I don't mean to sit here and completely bash on Jake Allen, but how many times even when the Blues were up 1-2-0 late in the third period and Allen was standing on his head, were you kind of sitting there saying, okay, the wheels are going to fall off eventually. Mm-hmm. Let's see if it happens this game. You don't feel that way with Binnington.
He has done it enough. I mean, it's only been technically half a season, I guess. So but still, he's done it enough for me to, like you said, be comfortable and have confidence in the goaltending that this game is generally not going to get out of hand. He's going to keep us in this game, or give us a chance to win almost every night. So, and that's all you can ask for. Sanford has not. Although I didn't expect much from Sanford, to be honest. I'm not a big Sanford fan. I don't think he's long for this team. I think he's going to be in and out of the lineup this season, but we'll see.
I think he's in one of those spots too where it's just that's an interchangeable part.
Right.
You don't need an 82 games out of a Zach Sanford.
No, and I think he might be a guy you see not play, him or Fabry, if Costin ever sees some time this season. So,
I will say I like how Berube has really allowed Robbie Fabry to have a chance to get back to who he was. I think he's been good. A lot of past coaches, I think, would say, okay, Robbie, you were great before your injuries, but we're going to play on the fourth line until you start putting up points. But, it's a catch-22. How do you expect a guy to put up a bunch of points if he's only playing 9-10 minutes a game? You're seeing Robbie Fabry get, and maybe I don't know what his numbers are in terms of ice time, but he's playing with top-line players. I mean, he's been out there a lot, and the Blues are winning, so you don't want to change that at all. And to see Berube have the confidence in him, hey, I know you can do this. Go out there and prove yourself with these top-line guys. That's what you want in a head coach, a guy who can believe in his players, and I'm all for it. Keep giving him a chance. Let him get back to his form if he can get there.
If Fabry doesn't have any points to show, and he is a -3, which is worst on the team, but I think he's looked good.
I think he's looked fine.
I think he's looked fine. Yeah, I have no real complaints about him.
He's showing his speed. He's showing he knows how to get around the offensive zone, and he's hustling back. And I think that's the key for his game.
Because there were a lot of people that were very critical of the Blues giving him another shot, the 1-year contract. And I really hope he does something with that, because that would be nice. I mean, to prove people wrong that were critical of that.
I think either way, he's not destined to be a Blue for long. Just with the contracts this team's starting to give out, and I think he's one of those interchangeable pieces. But it'd be nice to see him have a long NHL career, and maybe he proves me wrong here. I mean, I'd love for him to, but you talk about contracts, and they're overpaying Steen, they're overpaying Schenn, if some people might think that. I don't know if they do or not. And, we talked about Tarasenko not really stepping up yet. Robbie Fabry, for what he's making, I think he's playing just fine. He's exceeding what is it, 900,000?
Yeah, I think
He's
so.
exceeding a 900,000 player. Yeah, he's a -3. Yeah, he doesn't have any points, but he's helping keep the puck in the zone. He's creating pressure. He's doing a lot. He's doing a lot of work along the wall. That's what you want to see in a player of his caliber.
So just real quick, non-hockey talk. Cardinals fans won't be surprised to hear this, but Clayton Kershaw gave up 2 home runs, and it's a tie game in the 10th.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
I may have to go, when we sign off here in a second, I'm going to go watch the end of that game. I saw that was posted in our YouTube chat that someone said that.
Wait, does Matt Adams play for the Nats?
Does he? I don't know.
Because he used to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Coming off the bench.
Him and Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first baseman for the Nats.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Full time?
There you go. I don't know about full time,
No,
but I
it
know
can't be
he
full-time.
does play first base for him.
Oh. All right. Well, I think we're done.
Yeah. Alrighty.
We checked some boxes off the list here, and we're good to go. Nice show, gentlemen.
We got Mr. Blues Hat just commenting and saying Fabry. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for that, sir. I'm guessing he has another thought to add to that, so we'll see if he gets that in before we close up the shop here.
Well,
It's got to be fast.
it's not going to be fast. Thanks for listening, everyone. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. That will conclude this week's broadcast of Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go, Blues.
Let's go Blues.